everybody, it's Suzanne Orlando, your anxiety alchemist, and I'm here today with a video as kind of a follow-up to something I had posted I think earlier in the week. So earlier in the week, if you've been following me or looking at anything on my page, I posted an image of what looked like a marathon runner that had they were laying down on the ground and they had medals, gold medals on either arm, filling their arms and spilling off of their arms. And the caption was something along the lines of, I'm winning the race of overthinking. So it wasn't exactly that, but basically I created a post because, myself included, so many of us are overthinkers. And it was kind of like a funny twist on the concept, but so many people connected with the image that they saw because, and in a funny way, you know, people laughed at it and were like, I'm winning the race of overthinking, because so many of us overthink about everything, especially now with everything going on in our world. If you're a parent, if you're an educator, the uncertainty of what's going to happen when school starts, and the cause of uncertainty causes us to start to overthink. How many of us are having sleepless nights, waking up in the middle of the night, wondering what's going to happen, thinking about all of the different outcomes or possibilities, or even if you're aligned with a choice that you've made, you know, kind of overthinking that thought that maybe you've already made. So how do we battle, as I always say, how do we battle this dragon of overthinking? How do we overcome it? How do we conquer it? Because it's something that plagues so many of us. Whether you struggle with very minimal things, so whether it's like I'm overthinking what app I should download for my kids for whatever reason, or I'm overthinking, you know, what are going to be my options to send my kids back to school in the fall, or I'm overthinking if I sent that email to my boss, did I word it the right way? Or I'm overthinking, you know, I've done all of these awesome things in my life and what's next and how am I going to figure out what I align with? So there are so many ways and reasons why we overthink. And what does overthinking do for us? I would say arguably, and I know this from personal experience, from experience I have, you know, working with people, talking to people, that overthinking doesn't really do anything for us, but keep us in a constant loop of worry, of anxiety, and of stress. That's really the only thing that it provides for us. So how do we overcome it, right? Because that's the big catch, right? How do I stop being an overthinker? So many people that posted underneath that image that I shared on my Facebook, and if you haven't seen it, definitely go look at it. So many people commented on that and were saying, you know, but how do I stop this? I can't help it. I'm always an overthinker. And of course we make light of it, but in seriousness, it's really a struggle for so many of us. Okay, so going back to the foundation of it all, before we start overthinking, most of the time there's a choice that we've made, or there's a thought or a choice that we've made that we feel relatively good about, right? We're on one side of the fence or the other side of the fence. So what is helpful to kind of beat the overthinking is this: when we make a choice about something, and you can start doing this on a very small scale. I always encourage everybody that I work with, my clients, the advice that I give, when we are trying to do something, we're trying to overcome something big, we have to start with very small attainable goals, right? So for example, let's give an example here. So I'm thinking that tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. and I am going to go for a walk. Okay, period, the end. So why did I make that choice? Why am I choosing to do that tomorrow morning when I can sleep in, when it's gonna be really hot out and I'm gonna be sweaty? Why am I choosing that? Well, because I know that when I walk first thing in the morning, that it makes me feel really good. It makes me feel accomplished. It makes me feel like I've taken care of myself. I've done something for me at the start of the day, which starts my day in a really good way. So that's why I feel good about this choice. So now I'm gonna say that out loud to myself, and I'm gonna write that down. I'm going to choose to take a walk tomorrow at 6 a.m. I'm setting my alarm because I know that when I take a walk, I feel accomplished, I feel like I'm starting my day on the right foot, and I feel really good about my choice. And I'm gonna write that down, and I'm also gonna say that out loud to myself. So what happens? I get into bed, the night before, I'm really comfy, and I'm like, it'd feel really good to sleep in tomorrow morning. Getting up at 6 a.m. feels really difficult right now. Maybe I should get up at 8 o'clock instead and do my walk then. What if I woke up in the morning and I was too hot for my walk? What if my alarm doesn't go off? What if my alarm goes off and I hit snooze? Am I gonna feel? So you see what happens? Now I'm starting to overthink my choice. But in reality, the choice that I made and the reason why I was making that choice was for good reason. I recognize that I'm making a choice to feel good. I'm making a choice to set my day up for success. I'm gonna be in a really better frame of mind if I follow through with this. But what did I do? I started to overthink. In comes the overthinking. And it might not happen right away. And then you start to juggle that concept. Did I make the right choice? Didn't I make the right choice? Did I make the right choice? Didn't I make the right choice? And it is a freaking struggle. How many of us struggle with this? Yes, I'm talking about taking a walk, but think about this on the largest scale ever. So what you really need to do, and using the example that I just gave, a really good start, when you make a decision about something, you need to beat the overthinking. And how do you do that? By doing what I just explained. Get a piece of paper out and write down, I'm choosing to fill in the blank about whatever the case may be. And the reason why this feels good to me is because blah, 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 fill in the blank. So you want to write down why you're making the choice. I've had a hard time making this decision, but this is what I'm choosing. And this is why I'm choosing it. And this is what feels good to me. Write it down and say it out loud to yourself. Put your phone on selfie mode and look at yourself and say it. Say it in the mirror and say it out loud and often, because what that is initially going to do is that is going to beat the overthinking that's going to come in later. You still might overthink, okay? So what we're doing here when we're changing our behavior, when we want to start doing something different, it's all about disrupting the flow of how things usually are for you. So by making the choice, recognizing that choice, writing it down, aligning with why it feels good, and saying it out loud to yourself, you're disrupting the pattern that usually happens when you overthink. So that is a very first step. So I just want you guys to focus on that. Every single choice that you make in the next week, I always say a week because you can do anything for 7 days. And I don't care if it's, I'm gonna make my spouse go to the grocery store and not me. I'm gonna choose to watch this show because of X, Y, and Z, and this is why it feels good to me. I don't care what the choice is. I want you to align with your choices this week. I want you to be really aware of your choices. I want you to write them down and write down why they feel good to you. And so when you start to overthink about them or question your choices, you can go back to the concrete written down words, right? I'm just using this as I wrote these words down. They're meaningful to me, so they must be valuable and true. And you're reflecting back on why you made that choice. And that is your very first step to squashing that or to slaying that overthinking dragon. So I just wanted to come on here and share that quick little tip with you. I hope you guys got something out of this. We all overthink here and there, but we don't have to let it control us, or we don't have to get caught in that loop. So always think about disrupting the thought, write it down, and write down why it feels good to you, emotionally, logically, and all in between. Write it down, look it over, and say it out loud, and that's a first step. So I hope this sunk into a lot of you. I hope this made sense for a lot of you, and I would love to hear how this is helpful to you moving forward. Please definitely try it. If you have any questions or you want to talk further about this, if this is something that's really a struggle to you and all of that, definitely reach out to me. Let's get on the phone. Let's get on a free discovery session so that we can kind of figure this out. And thank you guys all for tuning in. I hope this really did help you and align with you, and tune in for more. So I hope you guys have a great day. Do not overthink, and align and be confident with what your choices are. All right, bye guys.